Man, just to get started, I'd love to hear like your personal story, starting with you, Pugs. Like, what part of the city you grew up in? Like, how did you come up?
Okay. Well, my father, he was a radio disc jockey, and I was born in Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. But around like 2003, we moved to Chicago to 115th Street. My mom was a painter, and so we were living in Roseland. And then a few years later, we moved to Englewood. I'm swimming to my hood, it's not to fall apart. Hate to get a stay to myself, but just keep trying hard. So much shit been going on, I hate for any part. I just protect my heart. So yeah, Englewood, the Green Line, like those are like my safe places, I would say. Like seeing Crazy Man GBC is graffiti off the train, Buck Crew, and then like at the time on the Green Line, you have like artists, like rappers and singers, like performing for spare change. And like even at Christmas, you have like the Santa Claus dude rapping. And it was like, my first way to be able to touch kind of like what hip hop was from the train. And it got to the point where I would just ride the train. And eventually I started to write graffiti and, get further into that. At this time, man, it was ciphers like everywhere. So, you just would see, a bunch of kids on a corner or in front of like Water Tower or at Ford City or in front of the movies, just going at it. And it was very battle culture because it's kind of like I want to impress the crowd to get the wow, But the only people really with deals, at this time is like Twista. And he was kind of like leaving being tongue twister to just being Twister and getting a little more gangster with it. And then you had Common Sense, changing his name to Common, and him working with No ID and, Doug Infinite and all of them. But then you had this upshoot of independent labels. Now, again, I'm talking 1997 to like 1999, 2000s, right before Kanye gets signed and all of that. So you had like the Moment, you had All Natural. You had Galapagos 4, you had like a bunch of, groups saying, I want to put out the stuff from my city and push it as far as I could push it. So, Juice, Rhymefest, etc. Like all of these people are starting to travel and like do battles in other cities, started to, travel overseas to do shows, working with producers, from other countries and that kind of thing. So like the underground Chicago is, at like a bubbling at this point, because again, it's the torch passing from the old schoolers that were here in the 80s and early 90s to, people that were my age that were just leaving high school going to college.